All right, we're going to work through lesson 116, and your textbook calls this adding equations. It's going to be most often called elimination. So this is what this is. This is technically, we're going to add the word simple in, elimination. And I'm going to need you to do a couple of things. Number one, get your textbook out. Number two, get some notebook paper. And get a pencil. Okay? Um, and if you are a calculator user, pull a calculator out. I want you to work these with me. I want you to keep track of them. We're going to learn several different ways to solve these, so I need you to be taking good notes. I'm going to tell you some things to write down as we go, and I need you to put them in a place where you can keep them. We're going to do some problems out of your textbook, so get all that ready. And if you don't have that, pause this and textbook, paper, and pencil, and if you need it, your calculator. So you're going to be given a system of equations, and we've talked about linear equations and how we can graph them. So technically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with two sets of linear equations, and we know that they go together because of this little squiggly parenthesis. That means these two guys are connected some way. And so what we're going to do is we're going to solve the value of x and y. This is a line, and this is a line. I have no idea what they would look like, but let's say that line 1 goes here and line 2 goes here. What we're actually doing is we are solving for the intersection. We're going to solve for the x and y value, and that is where these two lines intersect. So to solve that, we are going to add, there's several methods, and eventually you will get to pick which method you want to use. And the more that you do these, you're going to see that some methods work better in different situations. And the first one that we're going to do is just adding straight down. So we're going to take these two equations and we're going to add them straight down. So step one, add equations. And when I do this, I'm going to eliminate a variable. And if I look at this equation, positive y minus y, it eliminates itself. It goes away. And so really this is kind of basic of what's called elimination in most textbooks. When I have a positive and a negative of the same thing, they go away. 7 minus 7, 0. 6 minus 6, 0. So these two things are going to eliminate. We're going to add straight down to eliminate one variable. So I'm going to rewrite this as like just a regular problem so I can kind of visually see it. Some people kind of struggle seeing it written in this form with all of these extra, with the little parentheses, and anyway, we're going to write it like this. We're going to add straight down. Negative 3x minus 4x gives me negative 7x. These guys go away. Technically what I have is a 0y because there's understood ones, right? 1 minus 1 is 0. And because these are two things side by side with no sign, it means we're multiplying, and 0 times y is still 0, so it just goes away. 5 plus 2, and we're adding straight down, is 7. And now we're going to just walk through the steps of solving for x. I'm going to move this negative 7 over. When I do, I divide by negative 7. 7 divided by negative 7, x equals 1. Now, this is only the first half of the problem. Okay, what we're going to do is we need to solve for x and y. So our third step is to take the value that we just solved for. We're going to plug it back into whichever one of these equations that I want. I can pick whichever equation that I want to work with. I pick the one that has the easiest numbers, and in this case there's not really one that's a lot easier, but I am going to use the top equation. So I am going to take this equation and I'm going to plug my value for x into that equation. So I have negative 3 times negative 1. Instead of x, I have negative 1 plus y equals 5. And now I'm going to just walk through solving that for y. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So I have 3 plus y equals 5. I'm going to have to move that positive understood plus. Don't forget there's no sign there, it's plus. I'm going to need to move that plus 3 over and it becomes minus. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So now I have an x value and a y value. But remember, I told you I'm solving for where these two lines intersect, which is a point on a graph. So when I give an answer to a problem like this, solving for x and y, I need to write that in a coordinate form. And remember, a coordinate form is going to be x value, comma, y value. Well, x is -1, y is 2. So my answer is going to technically be, not technically, my answer is -1, 2. So 3 steps, all right? Let's review those without all of this mess written around. So step 1, add the equations to eliminate one variable. Step 2, you're going to plug that into one of the equations and solve for the second variable. Step 3, solve for that second variable. Now listen, I would start a sheet of notes and I would label it Solving Systems of Equations, because you're going to end up with an I, by the way. You're going to end up with several different ways to do this. This is simple elimination. So if you want to make this your title and then make a header, this is, oops, your textbook does not call it simple elimination, but that's what it is. In your next several lessons, we're going to add more notes to this. And at the end, you're going to have a whole, well, not at the end, but from here on out, Algebra 2, Advanced Mathematics, if you do that with us, College Algebra, whatever you do, you're going to end up with problems that you're going to have to pick which method works the best or that you're the best at. So get a sheet of notes started. Keep it somewhere where you can add to it as we keep adding methods to this. So simple elimination. Step 1, you're going to add the equation straight down. When you do that on this lesson, you're going to eliminate a variable. The reason it will eliminate is because you will have one positive, one negative. And you can eliminate x or y first. It doesn't matter. Then you're going to take that value, plug it into whichever equation that you want. Just, I would choose the one with the simplest numbers. And then you're going to use that to solve for the second variable. All right, so let's look at another one. All right, here is the problem we're going to look at. -3x minus y plus 5 equals 0. 3x minus 2y minus 8 equals 0. And the directions, I'm sure, will say something like solve this system, solve for x and y. Okay, step 1, add straight down. So I'm going to rewrite this like an addition problem. Remember, we're adding straight down. So later, when you have to figure out which method to use, I have the exact same numbers, one positive and one negative, so I know that's going to eliminate itself. That's why this is called elimination. So I'm going to add every term straight down. -3x plus 3x is 0x, which just goes away. Negative, do not lose your understood 1. -1y minus 2y is -3y. 5 minus 8 is -3, and then of course 0 plus 0 is 0. Now I just need to start solving for y. So I'm going to need to move my -3 over. When I move it over, it becomes a positive or a plus. Now I need to get rid of my other -3, but in this case I have two things side by side, which means multiply. So when I move that -3 over, it means divided by, because I'm multiplying on that side. Remember, we changed the operation, not the sign. So y equals -1. So there's the first part of my problem done. I've solved for one variable. Now my job is to plug that variable back in to whichever equation that I want. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to choose this one because that x, this is positive, and I just think it looks easier. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but I'm going to use that one. I'm going to plug my value for y in, so y is no longer going to be y, it's going to be -1. So 3x minus 2 times -1, because that's the value I solved for y, minus 8 equals 0. Now I'll just start working through my steps to solve for x. -2 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 8 is -6. Move the -6 over, so it's going to become plus. Move the 3 over, because I'm multiplying on the left, it's division on the right. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And remember, we're looking for the point that these lines intersect, so I need to write it in x, y form. Now obviously, if you were to do this on a test and write it like that, x equals 2, y equals -1, I'm not going to count it wrong. But this is the form that you need to start writing it in. Online tests, college entrance exams, SATs, anything like that is going to want it in that form, okay? All right, so what I want you to do is in that textbook that I told you to get out, I want you to open to page 255, and there's some classwork problems. Do just the first one, all by yourself, give it a shot, try the first one, and then we're going to work through it. So 255, classwork, do it in pencil. You can do it in your textbook. It doesn't matter. If you want to do it on your sheet of notes you've started, you can do that so you can reference back to it. But do the first one on page 255, and then come back and we'll check it together. So here's this problem I asked you to do. We're going to work through this together. Look at your work as we're going and make sure that you did it correct. So step 1, we're going to add straight down, and I have already sort of done it this way. Add straight down. -3x plus 4 gives me 1x. My y's go away. 0y goes away. -5 plus 6 should have 1. And I'm going to do this a little bit quicker because you should have already done it. All right, now I'm going to work through my steps of solving for x. Move my 1 over, so -1x equals, nope, +1x equals -1. Divide by 1, so x equals 1. There's my first point. Now I'm going to plug that in, and I chose my bottom equation to work. You could have picked the top one, and I may work that over on the side in a second, so if you did that top one, you can check it. Plug that value for x in, so you have 4 times -1 minus y plus 6 equals 0. -4 minus y plus 6 equals 0. Add my -4 and my 6, so I have -y. Don't lose that. One thing that happens a lot is whatever sign is in front of it stays with it, so don't lose that negative. Move my +2 over. Now, pay attention because this is not complete. This is -y equals -2. Technically, that's a -1, so I need to move that over and divide by -1. -2 divided by -1 is just 2. So my answer needs to be in a coordinate form, x and y. So -1, x, 2. Now, if you had picked this top equation, you should have ended up in the same place. 3 minus 5 is negative, oops, hold on. -2. So it's not going to matter which equation you use, your y value is going to be exactly the same. So there's my answer on that one. If you did not get that, look through my work and see what you did wrong. Now what I would like you to do is do the last problem in the classwork. I believe there's there's 3 problems, I believe, on that page. It's not open in front of me. I want you to do the last one. It has, I think, no, it's not any different. You're going to do it exactly the same. But try it on your own to get one more done, and then we're going to check it. You should have ended up with x is 2, y is -1. Here are all of the steps. So if you did not get that, pause it and look through this work to see what you missed, and we'll go from there. Homework for this lesson is to complete all of page 255. You don't need to do the back half of this lesson, just that first half. And you already have answers for 2 of them if you watch the video. So there you go.